Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the chart room. The chart room is now open. I'm excited to dive into some charts with you all. Happy post new moon. I hope the new moon has been treating you lovely and wonderful and all the wonderful things. We are going to read some charts today, as we do here in the chart room. And I hope that wherever you are in the world, however the energies are finding you, that you're feeling that fire energy, you're feeling ready to begin, you're feeling ready to start some things. Because definitely feeling it on my end, for sure. But yeah, happy Saturday. I'm excited to dive into some content and to be able to read some charts for you all. How's everybody doing? How are we feeling today? Happy Saturday. I'm just coming out of birthday celebrations and all the many wonderful things. So very exciting things, birthday, new year, new conversations, deepening conversations. Morning has been really well, treating me really well. And I'm just like really entering a space where I'm looking at those responses to bring back that conversation about this Aries stellium, right? We have all this Aries energy here right now, and I think in a very egoic way, it's amplifying the ego, very much Aries energy and what it's all about. And in another sense, it's helping us build a more conscious relationship with our ego as well. Give me 1 second, please. Shumi, go. Thank you. I love you. That's very distracting. Yeah. So we're building hopefully you're building a healthier relationship with your ego. Ego is not bad. And hopefully in all the sometimes impulsive, chaotic energies that are online, that, there is this feeling of, cool, how do I want to respond in this moment? How do I want to respond? Because we can react. In our reaction, it can satiate the ego in some ways. Again, all these Aries conversations, which is very much about the ego. Aries is I, right? I am. Whatever I am is. Of course, as we move through the whole wheel, we discover what I am is, to eventually end up in Pisces, where I am it all. I am it all, and I'm none of it at all as well, which is very hard to grasp. But, in regards to identity and oneself, understanding what those things are and how we explore selfhood through impulse, right? We explore selfhood through those interactions. And eventually we enter a space where we are all of it and we are none of it as well. So I'm curious for you all in regards to Aries energy, what is coming online? Before even diving into personalized readings here in just a little bit, what are you being called to initiate? What are you being called to, begin? Because that is very Aries energy. It's the energy of impulse. And sometimes that impulse is amazing, right? It feels alive. It feels like the thing we are supposed to do. And sometimes that impulsivity gives life to new things. And some of it brings very chaotic endings to things as well. So curious for you all, like, what is beginning? What is ending? What is ego asking of you? And is ego, in check? Is it in balance? Is it in harmony? I would say here, what can really help all of us to really look at is how Jupiter, the planet of luck, of beauty, of balance, of just like doors opening for us, is in Cancer. The philosophy that is Jupiter, the philosophy of Cancer, which is the philosophy of care, the philosophy of nurturance, understanding that Jupiter here in Cancer is asking us to soften our ego a bit more in order for us to like make sure that these ego responses, they're coming from a place of care. They're coming from a place of softness. Not as in softness as in like walk all over me, but could we really start with love? That is very much Cancer as well. Could we start with love? Could we hold space for all of our emotions here as well without, feeling as though something's wrong with it? Cancer is the energy of the mama bear, right? The mama bear who loves and the mama bear who sees. And even in all of this stuff that's getting kicked up by Aries, which for some of us may be motivating to take lots of naps and maybe do a lot less. For some of us, we may be motivated to do a lot more. But we got to make sure here that we're building bridges and not burning them down, right? That is very much this Jupiter and Cancer energy. It wants us to really exercise the muscle of care and bringing that care into our relationships, into our connections, and most importantly to ourselves as well. And the more we anchor ourselves in care, which involves looking outside of just me, right? Looking outside of just me. And understanding here that also both Cancer and Aries are cardinal signs. So they're initiators, right? Whereas Aries is the initiator of oneself. Cancer is the initiator of emotional territories, the initiator of emotional intelligence, and the emotional intelligence that is bridged and created through really sitting with, there's a feeling here as well. It's not just, oh, I have an idea. There's a feeling behind this idea. And what is that? And does it build nurture in oneself and connections with other people? Or does it build separation with other people? Very important to distinguish here as well. Some comments coming in here on both YouTube and Instagram. I love this. I have Jupiter in Cancer at 0 degrees. Congratulations. It's your Jupiter return. My Jupiter is in Cancer as well. So I'm really sitting with that energy of care, Jupiter is ultimately about philosophy. It's about worldview. It's about how we view this world. And I think Jupiter collectively, it's motivating us to consciously ask questions about home. What is that home? We're looking at the fourth house as well when we're thinking of Cancer. Fourth house is ruled by these Cancerian themes of like the emotional foundation that either helps us interact with this world through a lens of care, through the lens of love, or through the lens of fear and insecurity and doubt. I think looking at, even considering here like Pluto and Aquarius, right? Pluto and Aquarius in the fourth house here is telling and painting a picture of collectivism, right? That is very much the Aquarian conversation. Collectivism, being a part of something, of a form of oneness, not being the exact carbon copy of one, but how do I bring my individuality to the collective here from the lens of care, from the lens of love, from the lens of nurture? And it's tricky territory because it can be really triggering to be a part of a group of people, right? A group of people who share their own beliefs, their own points of view. And how do we still remain ourselves in that, whatever ourself is, without limiting the experience or contorting ourselves to have to shapeshift or fit the box of whatever that mold is, while also still being oneself. Like it's interesting, right? It's something that I'm asking myself as well, to be able to hold that paradox of individuation and also collectivism. I think that is something that we're trying to explore here. How to sit with someone who you probably don't share the same point of view, or maybe you do share the same point of view, but the way in which it's being received through the Aries lens, the egoic Aries lens, is that of like, oh, we're not the same, or so there's a divide here, which can be very Aries, god of war, right? There's a divide here, we don't see the same. It's like, well, how much of it is truly us not seeing the same or eye to eye, or how much of it is us seeing through our own experience and not really leaning in and listening through the lens of care, through the lens of love, which is also very Cancerian, right? It's very much that. How can I lead with my heart here and lead with my heart open instead of Aries being on the offensive here? There's a reason why Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war, right? There's a reason why that energy is here and that tension is here, is that sometimes we start wars with people who are probably trying to help, probably really trying to help. And, you know, I think all of us are really romanticizing this idea of community, wanting to be a part of a space where we're helping each other and loving each other and honoring each other. But when there's tension, when there's odds, how do we navigate those spaces? You know, if we're starting from a place of conflict, and I think we see it, it's nurtured in the media we consumed. Everything is at odds, everything's in conflict. But how do we make that bridge, right? I don't know. I think that's a skill we're learning in real time, to be able to lay down our weapons to the side, you know, knowing that there comes a time and place where we gotta wield it. There is time and place where we have to, like, actually, no, I have to fucking stand up and do something here. But to just have that armor on standby in case you need it, while still having the heart open, I think is a part of the work right now. At least that's how I'm interpreting it and seeing it, right? We hear these concepts about community and being a part of community, but community is sometimes hella inconvenient, you know? Community sometimes is difficult. And I don't know if we, as a collective, really know how to handle conflict resolution or boundary building in a way that centers care, in a way that also checks the ego as well. The sort of awareness that is required to be in contact with others and to be able to express and vocalize contradiction and paradox with one another, I think is it's mastery, baby. It's mastery that we're all being called to right here, right now. So welcome, friends. Welcome, everyone, to the chart room. With that, I say we're going to begin doing personalized readings now. I'm just switching my screen so I can put the birth details for the readings that we have on the docket today. In this order today, we have Deborah, we have Sydney, we have Tanya, we have Libby, and then finally we have Chelsea. We are completely booked up for today, my friends. So if you would like to book a personalized reading, a 40-minute reading, there's one, I'm sorry, a 15-minute reading, like a mini reading. There's one of two options. You can either book a reading like this, which happens live. You don't need to show up on camera or anything. I pull up your chart, we talk about it. I do require your engagement in the chat, of course. More often than not, I'm pulling up these charts and you probably have some of the same placements. So if you want to learn more about your astrology or the astrology of others, highly recommend you still stay in this room and learn a few things about how this astrology might be showing up for you or in others that you know. And so you can sign up for that reading. It's called the Chart Room. It's linked in my bio on Instagram. It's linked in the description below on YouTube. So you can book one of those, or you can book a one-on-one hour-long reading. Those are called soul sessions. We go even deeper there. We spend one-on-one time, really etch out your whole chart. There's only so much I can fit into a 15-minute reading, but I try my best to at least answer whatever questions are coming up. So let me go ahead and put in Deborah's information here in my software to get things going. Manchester. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. So we're going back to the beginning of something in this lifetime. 3, 2, 1. Born 3, 2, 1. That's amazing. What an angel number. All right, Deborah. Let me just read your note here real quick. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Deborah, this is for you, dear. Let me show the chart here. So one of the specific questions you had, Deborah, was about transiting Pluto in Aquarius conjunct your sun in Aquarius here in the 8th house. Now, a few things come up with 8th house territory. We're dealing with fear, we're dealing with secrets, we're dealing with the occult. We're also dealing with shared resources. We're dealing with inheritance as well. These are things we may inherit ancestrally, things we inherit through grief, perhaps like through someone's passing in the physical form, and now you inherit either their house dwelling, their debt, whatever also unfinished business they may have been carrying that is now imbued in your life as well. Now we have Sun in Aquarius here. Aquarius is fixed air. They're here to master perception, to hold perception with a discerning eye, probably at an arm's distance. We don't want to fully envelop ourselves in the fear, but we want to have a healthy level of detachment with this 8th house territory as well. So I would say with things moving and things feeling topsy-turvy right now, again, what we're looking at here in 8th house territory is trust. Trust in, with Aquarius, of course, collectivism, trust in community, trust in our forward-thinking big picture vision. It's interesting because with this last quarter, which is Capricorn, Aquarius, and then Pisces. When we're looking at those 3 signs in the last quarter of the zodiac, we're looking at vision. Vision in 3 very distinct ways. Capricorn is about building that vision, building that legacy. It's very material vision. And with Aquarius, we're looking at perceptual vision, building and vision building with our words, with our language, with the way we communicate, building that vision or bringing to life that vision from a very logical sort of, here is the framework. Aquarius is ruled by 2 planets. It's ruled by both Uranus and it's ruled by Saturn. If we're looking at the Saturn rulership in Aquarius, we're looking at structure, right? Capricorn, ruled by Saturn as well, we're looking at structure. So with Aquarius, with Saturn, we're looking at the walls that are physically built, those boundaries. And with Aquarius, we're looking at the walls that are built through the rules that are created, the laws that bind us or liberate us. We're looking at social conformity. We're looking at the social rules of it all as well. So anytime I'm looking at Aquarius, I'm looking at the environment through which we are breaking out of our box or participating in a box. A higher octave Aquarius looks at the box and goes, cool, we need to think outside of it because this is feeling like a prison. This is feeling too restricting. And we need rules, We need those Capricornian rules. We need the systems. But we also need systems where we can all participate and be ourselves in very real ways. I would say here with Pluto breathing down the neck of your sun in Aquarius, it's really asking you to confront the shadows of connection, right? It's really motivating you to look at the shadow of not only belonging to others in a very logical sense, but belonging to others in that very psychic sense. I would say here, Aquarius doesn't really trust easily in the eighth house. But if we're really wanting to build a world, looking at Cancer rising here, that feels loving and caring and something that really mirrors the sort of care and calling in and calling out necessary to build, worlds that are hopeful and loving and caring and nurturing. Like, we got to be able to look at the shadows that people bring into these spaces as well. Deborah says here, my grandma just passed as well. She has been a huge influence. Trust is a hard one for me, so this makes sense on something to work on. Exactly. And what we're looking at here with Aquarius is really checking our detachment, right? And really checking, like, in this eighth house territory, when perhaps expectations are getting too deep, people are needing of you too much, right? That's also very eighth house territory, like attracting those energy vampires. How do we still show up in loving and compassionate ways while still having a conversation with other people that motivates them to look at how they bring their fears, their neediness, their attachment styles to community building, to resource building? If we're going to really share resources, then how do we equip the environment instead of detaching from it and going, well, you know what, I'm just like Aquarius, I talk about them as either being all about really helping humanity or disgusted by humanity as well. It's equal parts. But like right now it's an Aquarian age, right? And we need Aquarian peoples to be able to check their emotions. And that's a beautiful gift that Aquarius people have. A lot of people think Aquarians are not emotional, but they're probably one of the most emotional signs of the zodiac. They just know how to hold their emotions at a healthy distance because they realize influence. They're so connected. They're fixed air. So they're constantly looking at what is influencing them, what's influencing response, and where this is coming from. And I think you have a superpower here, my love, in really being able to check what is influencing you, in the sense of like influencing you and creating an inner world that says we can't trust people. Right? We can't trust people. There's an inner world here that's saying we can't trust people. That's very Pluto. And Pluto really wants you to look at this feeling of mistrust. And like in this response, who gave you that perception? What is feeding that perception? And with that perception, I'm not saying it's not entirely wrong. I think it's important to practice a little bit of, healthy boundaries with others, especially as we're trusting them or building community with them. And the reason why I keep mentioning community too for you is because in regards to Aries energy in your 10th and 11th house here, like we have a long conversation really coming through here where Saturn and Neptune are going to be dancing in this midheaven. In regards to your career and the legacy you end up building, we're talking about being a leader in a different way, in a more pioneering way, right? And eventually, once Saturn and Neptune enter this 11th house territory, I wouldn't be surprised if we begin leading community in some beautiful ways as well, in some ways that are very Aries. In some ways that require a level of like a healthier relationship with confrontation, I would say, in community spaces, in spaces where we're sharing resources with one another. So right now, with this conjunction, with the Pluto and Sun conjunction here, what we're looking at is a story of the amplification of the shadows that exist that may limit a true connection with other people. I would say here, really practicing a healthy relationship with that fear would really benefit you. And also anchoring in that Aquarius almost utopian vision of like, okay, as a conscious citizen of this, collective consciousness that we get to participate in, as a conscious participant in the crafting and curating of a shared co-reality, how and what how would I like to see my comrades show up in this world? And how do I need to show up in this world? Because what you want and desire, as far as like really, like Aquarius here in the 8th house, really wants to belong to a group, really wants to belong to other people. And also, let's be real, North Node in Aquarius, like, come on. We have a very clear vision. We've come into this world with a very clear vision of like pushing our ideas of collectivism and service, humanity forward. All right. And the more we remove me, I, very South Node in Leo, I think there is an amplified ego here that might feel almost as though other people are either, there's a rejection sensitivity here, right? Of just like, cool, we got to really check what we're getting validation for and around. And this year, that conversation is going to amplify as the nodes move from Pisces and Virgo to Aquarius and Leo. So really check your need for validation and where you're getting that validation from. Is it validation from a space that is truthful and authentic and forward thinking, or is it validation from a place that is just like participating in social conforming ways, Anyways, there's more that I can go into. We're at time here, of course, but first and foremost, I'm sorry for your loss with your grandmother. I'm sure grandma was a very strong motivating influence in your life, in your 8th house. I would say grandma is absolutely with you. If you haven't tried connecting with her yet in a spiritual sense, I highly recommend you do so. 8th house will really support you here. And really, really look at your detachment. What is causing that detachment? And how can we, confront these fears and surrender to others, trust others more than the paranoia that comes with it as well. Give other people an opportunity to show themselves before trying to fill in a blank with whatever we think they're going to show up as. Okay? That's what I have for you, Deborah. Thank you so much for your contributions. I appreciate you so much. I think this is going to be an exciting year for you. Honestly, it's an exciting moment. And start thinking about career. I don't know what seeds we planted for the new moon in regard to career, legacy building, all of that. Like if we're pioneering something through right now, this chapter is going to get louder. And I think how you take up space is up for conversation. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to set up here our next reading with Sydney. So Sydney, wherever you are, dear, please let me know. You're very welcome, Deborah. Yeah, good readings. Okay. Ooh. You're not from the future, dear. All right. Oh, lovely. All right. It's July cusp. Yeah. Just a bit. A little cuspy here. But I still got your chart. Let me read your notes real quick. Thank you, Deborah, for your kind words. I appreciate you. Hmm. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay, cool. We can talk about this. Let me get your chart on screen here, Sydney. Thank you for sharing so beautifully and vulnerably as well, y'all. So a few things are coming to mind here. Is first and foremost, can we find forgiveness of oneself in these interactions with relationship and all of that? Can we find that, yes, there's a part of you that deeply wants to connect with others. Of course, we want to be in relationship with others, but I would say that there's so much in you that is craving a relationship that is deeply nurturing and caring and lovely and just spiritual, I would say, in so many ways. We're going through our nodal return right now with South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. So I think so much that's being amplified is probably third house of communication, South Node in Virgo. So we're very critical of ourselves. I wouldn't be surprised if something inside you feels like you did something wrong in this relationship and because of that, it probably spoiled. Although we're waiting for an apology, we're waiting for something that will satiate this Virgo quality that says, see, I knew I was right. I knew I was right about what was wrong, probably. How can we go into more of the North Node Pisces realm, which is that of surrender, right? We're looking at surrender. We're looking at our relationship with self and others and the universe, and how, you know what, hurt people, they really hurt people sometimes. And everyone, of course, we would love in a very South Node Virgo way for people to just like own their shit and to see how they bring wrong and damage to relationship. But sometimes it's when your whole space is just siphoned and filtered through just you, it's hard to expand and see anything outside of ourselves. And that's where heartbreak comes in. Whenever anybody's experiencing deep relational, just like rock bottom moments, I always love to remind them that heartbreak is an amazing catalyst for transformation and change. And it is. So I would say with this relationship ending, how can we, instead of waiting for the forgiveness to be initiated by the other, how can we find forgiveness toward them? Toward them in the things that they probably did not know. They did not know. Forgiveness in oneself for, wow, I opened my heart. I allowed this person into my sphere, and there were probably parts of you that knew that it wouldn't work, or maybe there was a part of you that was really hoping that it would work. Like, come on, come do this work with me, come meet me here. But I think with a moon in Virgo as well, what we're looking at here is an emotional foundation in the fourth house, an emotional foundation with someone who is ready to do the work with you as well. And I think it would really benefit you from, wow, I'm recognizing this in myself. You want to grow with someone. And in growing with someone, it requires feedback, right? It requires criticism. And some people just cannot take it, are not ready to be in relationship with someone who is being a mirror toward them. Okay. And I would say here, I'm looking at the 12th house. I'm looking at Cancer, Chiron in Cancer, the wounded healer in Cancer, which there's a wound here of nurturance, right? I think sometimes although on one side of the spectrum, we're bringing some feedback, we're bringing some awareness to the relationships we're in, and some of that comes from a beautifully placed space, but some of that is coming from a wounded place. I think ultimately Cancer here in the 12th house is really wanting you to have a deeper connection with nurturance in oneself. I would say there are times in which our emotions are a little wonky, out of whack, and maybe they're taken out on some interactions with others. And so much of the Cancerian energies right now wants you to be a mom to yourself, and a mom walks into the room and goes, "Hey baby, it's gonna be okay." And I'm thinking of mom at our highest octave, right? I would say with Chiron and Cancer, there's probably a mom wound here. There's probably a wound around nurturance and care. Maybe we had a hypercritical motherly figure in our lives, especially with that moon in Virgo. And I would say maybe it's created high standards of others that we create this perpetual loop of dissatisfaction when others don't meet us at that place. But can we find a little softness in ourselves and with other people with where they are on their journey, right? Like going back to that North Node in Pisces, we're looking at highest octave of Pisces. If we were to really think of highest octave Pisces, it is the embodiment of Christ consciousness. That this idea of we are all one through the eyes of God, right? That is why Jesus and the Jesus fish go one and one with one another. And that's why we look at Pisces, the fish, and there's an association to Jesus as a form of consciousness. I'm not telling you to go off and become a Christian all of a sudden, although if that's your jam right now, great, awesome. But I would encourage you to think of Christ and Buddha and, all of these, spiritual quote unquote masters, right? And how they deal with contrast, how they look at contrast. While Buddha might look at how other people project their suffering onto others and go, well, all that there is suffering, right? And we get to choose how we respond to suffering. We can respond to this moment of heartbreak and suffering through the lens of, you did this to me. You inflicted this pain on me. And because you inflicted this pain on me, I cannot show up in this world like I used to. Or we can look at the pain that has been inflicted and go, there is pain here. And this pain comes from something much deeper than anybody has inflicted on me. And can I still find love and care and the deservingness of love and care in myself as a person and a being, as a spiritual being that is growing as well? Can I find forgiveness in myself and in turn find forgiveness in others? That's really where we're at here. I don't think anybody else's apology is going to really give that to you. I don't think anybody else is really going to give that to you but you. And we're looking at Pisces North Node as well in the 9th house of philosophy. It's our North Star. It's what we're meant to grow into. South Node is our karma. It's our baggage. It's a comfort zone of sorts. And there's a comfort zone here with South Node in Virgo in what's wrong, in what's not working, an almost obsession with it. All right. But with North Node in Pisces, we're looking at an acceptance of it. Can we learn acceptance? 9th house as well. 9th house of philosophy, religion, higher learning, expanding our worldview. And North Node Pisces here is going like, hey, what are those philosophies of forgiveness? What are the scriptures of surrender? And it doesn't have to be Christ consciousness, like nothing that I'm saying here about forgiveness and trust and surrender, none of it is new. You know, there are some modern authors that are talking about this as well. You know, you can pick up a copy of Untethered Soul. Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I think there's a lot of North Node Pisces philosophies you can gain for something like that. You know, so I would encourage you to use this moment to really check with perhaps an insatiable, at times perpetual dissatisfaction, and to move towards everything is perfect as it is, even in its imperfection. You know, even in its imperfection, it is perfect as it is. You know, some things will be motivated to grow. Some people will be motivated to grow, and that might start with you, and it may not. Some people may choose to grow with you, and other people may not. So it's completely up to you. If you can look at this moment, whatever the heartbreak is, as, okay, cool, I'm being motivated to expand my capacity to forgive, expand my capacity to let go. This idea of love and what love really is, and that if you really love something so much, you let it go. And if it comes back to you, great. And if it doesn't, great. It doesn't change your capacity to love and care, but your capacity to love and to care unconditionally. What true unconditional love really means is not, I love you within these conditions. It's my capacity to love and give love is not contingent on conditions. No, it doesn't matter. I can still show up as a loving being with or without you, because I am. Okay? I think of Ram Dass. I feel like I quote him as at least once a live show, and I swear I'm gonna get it tattooed on me eventually. Maybe I'll go get that. Let's get birthday tattoos. But it's a quote by Ram Dass that says, "Hold on tightly, let go lightly." Hold on tightly, let go lightly. You know, there are moments and times where we have these beautiful interactions and they feel so beautiful, and we want to really hold on to them and savor that love, savor what's happening, savor that moment. Dare I say, I don't want to let this go. But if we're holding on to it so tightly that there's a fear of like, I don't want to let this go because I'm afraid that we'll never have this again, then there's a problem there. We're setting ourselves up for heartbreak, probably. Okay. So savor it in the moment. The same thing with fear. Sometimes we hold on to fear, hold on to the story, because we're afraid of who we'd be without it. It's a very Michael Singer untethered soul concept. Like, who are you without this thorn? We create I'm going into untethered soul here. We create all these walls around this tender space, this thorn, because we're afraid that, if somebody touches it, gosh, what would that say about us? All right. So that's what I have for you, love. Throw yourself into some higher learning. Read a book. All right. Read a book. Read something. Expand your worldview. Soften yourself. There's a lot of hardness here. Soften yourself. Forgive yourself and forgive others. Sometimes people don't really know or are aware of the damage they're causing. And that's okay. If we can find ourselves, if we can really find ourselves in them, if we can find a version of ourselves in the pain that other people inflict on us, then that's where things begin to open in some beautiful ways. All right. All right, love. Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your contributions, and happy travels. Happy travels into the forgiveness realms. Okay. So next up we have Tanya. Yay, Tanya. I love it. Let me get your information here, Tanya. Thank you, everyone, for being here as well and for your patience. I hope for friends who have similar placements that they're seeing themselves in this conversation. And regardless of anything, of course, if you have these placements in your chart somewhere, sure, this conversation might be a little louder than you, but astrology in all is a philosophical, talk about a Bible of sorts, a philosophical Bible of these like universal experiences in life, right? They're universal truths. So you may have a North Node in Pisces and you may not have a North Node in Pisces and still get something valuable from this. Of course, if you have a placement in there, it might be a little bit louder. For some people, this universal conversation might be activated by a certain transit that's post up in your chart, and you might feel a little louder during certain pockets and areas in your life. When we're looking at North Node, this is a lifelong exploration of those North Node themes. It's like we're not expected to get there and that's it. We're done. We're more so ignited to explore this and to mature in this process of like North Node territories. What? 333. I love this. Awesome. Tanya, my love. Yes, I got your email about 1970 being your birth year. You put 333 in your notes, love. Is it AM or PM? AM or PM? Just let me know so I can get it in there. In the meantime, I'll put your city and state. Thank you all for the love. I appreciate you so much. AM. Thank you, Tanya. All right, let's do this. Let me read your notes as well here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, I love this. I love this for you. Yeah. All right, dear. Let me pull up the chart here. Well, bam. Here we go. All right. So, Tanya, you mentioned in your notes we sold a business, or we're letting go of an old business or whatnot, or regardless of anything, we're building something new. We're building a new legacy of some sorts, which nothing is by accident. Everything is by design. Look at this concentrated Aries energy up here in your 10th house, right? Up here in your 10th house, really wanting you here to be a leader of some sort, right? To really pave a way here to be brave in your legacy building. Something that feels good for yourself, something that feels true for yourself as well. Aries here in the 10th house wants to get someplace first. So I would encourage you to look at how we may be playing it safe, even in regards to building a career, building a legacy. A lot of Cancer risings today, I'm just realizing. So really looking at, cool, when I think of being a boss in this world, I would add here probably like boss of a new world, boss with integrity, boss in a way that feels like the sort of masculine energy we need in this world. What would that look like? In what ways have we been playing it safe? We're looking at a Chiron return here as well in the 10th house territory. Chiron here, the wounded healer in Aries, which is a wounding of identity, a wounding of selfhood, a wounding of I deserve a right to exist, right? Me too. That's very much a Chiron exclamation. Me too. And with the 10th house territory, I would say there was probably a lot of people around you telling you what career to have, what you should do with your life. There was a lot of influence in that territory. And now we're looking at, your 4th house, your family, your home, a lot of critique on you, And in turn, a lot of critique of self with Virgo here in the fourth house, and also a lot of indecision. We got Moon in Libra, we have Uranus in Libra. So talk about an emotional foundation that feels a little anxiety ridden, right? Libra doesn't know what to choose from them for themselves, and Virgo feels as though they're not doing enough. They're not capable enough. And there was this idea that, if I just do and follow the rules of what family told me, of what other people told me, and the validation you received from that, I'm sure satiated this sun in Leo as well, also fed into a wound here in Aries, which says, but like, who really am I in this career, in this legacy that I'm building? I would say here, in your 10th house, in this chapter in your life, bravery, courage, action, impulse, all of those sort of emotions and experiences are your compass. That's your North Star. That's what we're reaching for. So every day I motivate you to ask yourself these questions of like, cool, how am I playing it safe? What am I not asking? What questions am I not asking? How can I challenge whatever my traditional ideas of business and brand building, how can I really challenge that? And really be a leader in a way that feels new, that feels fresh, and something that you feel responsible for, not other people, right? I would say this year, a lot of energies are coming in to support you in regards to that beautiful Leo sun. We also have Mars in Leo as well. When we get to that breaking point where it's just like, actually, no, I know who I am. I know what I value. I know my worth. This is where Leo really comes in to help you and to support you. Leo says, actually, no, I don't have a problem taking up space. And I think Jupiter Jupiter being that planet of luck and abundance, currently it's in Cancer. So we're in that 12th house territory with Jupiter in Cancer, of really knowing what it's like to care for oneself, to soften the heart enough in solitude to go, actually, no, I want this. I love this. I want to feel these things. I think we're exploring like how to mother ourselves in when the lights are off, in solitude. Perhaps there is like, I don't know if mom is still around or not. Maybe mom has been coming through in dreams here. Maybe mom has been like, if it was a relationship that felt, super supportive, maybe there's echoes of that. Or if it was a relationship that wasn't supportive, maybe we're doing some healing work in that very dreamy, like deeply subconscious territory that goes, you know what? I get to be and still be the mom I still need right now. If mom is in the picture or not in the picture, I get to be that mother for myself. I get to nurture myself and soften myself. Especially the fear that may come through with that Chiron and Aries placement in the 10th house, the fear of like, oh my God, but what if I do it wrong? What if I'm not like enough? And throw in this again, we got South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces in the 3rd house again. So the last reading, there's a little mirror here of just like, gosh, we're probably a little too critical of ourselves, right? And deep down inside, we want to feel needed. We want to feel useful. But life is way more than our output. Our value is measured by way more than our output. And North Node Pisces here, again, in the very 9th house territory that we talked about in the last reading, of in what ways is my view limiting me by allowing limiting me from allowing the vastness of life and the experience of life to come through to me. Okay. I think deep down inside of you, it's less about I'm building a brand identity, I'm building a business, and more so of like, no, I want to build a container of care. I want to build an exciting container of care. I want you to really let excitement and spiritual evolution be the thing that motivates you forward. And I want you to be messy with it. I think that's one of the most beautiful lessons of Pisces, is like letting people and letting yourself unravel, be that mess, be that person who might be starting at the beginning and then mature into the wise sage, that wise elder through the messiness of that experience, and then do it again and be the beginner again. We're looking at two very different energies with Pisces. That's why the yin and yang is associated with Pisces, two fish, right? We're looking at the unconscious and we're looking at what is conscious as well. And we're in this like endless ebb and flow of being a student and teacher and student and teacher, student and teacher again and again and again and again. And that's what makes life so rich and beautiful. It doesn't matter how old you are, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And like whatever part of you that wants it to be perfect, that wants it to be just like this very box. Like if it's not this, then I didn't do it. Like we got to break that box. Got to break that box so much more and surrender to the dream a hell of a lot more as well. Surrender to the dream a lot about. Like I would bring the dream into the work that you're doing a hell of a lot more. I would start from that dream. I would start from that place, because deep down inside, you do want to serve, especially with that South Node in Virgo. Like you do want to serve, and you don't serve in a very quiet way. Like you serve loudly, baby. You serve loyally. Come on, Sun in Leo, Mars in Leo. Like there's a part of you that's like has no problem advocating for your worth, right? And it's like, how do we do that in a way that's probably a lot more warm? And probably a lot more spiritually imbued as well. I would really motivate you to look at where you're being called to lead, how you're being called to lead. And again, look at how you might be playing it safe. How you might be playing it safe. Because there's information that spirit really wants you to connect with. There's information here that we're missing. And Saturn here is really wanting to test the limits of your courage. Test the limits of your courage here. I've surrendered and rebuilding from my body outward. Great advice. Mom is here and we're doing an RV trip with my 20-year-old. How fantastic. I love that. No, it's about me. Yeah, taking a group to Egypt in May to feel their way through. I will not perform. I will hold space. Yes, you're nailing exactly where I am, and the advice and insight is much appreciated. Absolutely. We're growing into elderhood. You know, that's this axis here as well, with South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, where South Node in Virgo is that student, a very eager student who wants to be better and do better and blah, 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 blah. And then the North Node in Pisces is the sage that, hands the student like a knotted bundle of yarn and goes, here you go. Here's your lesson. And the eager student is like, what do you mean? Like, give me a framework. Give me something. Like, I want to know what life is all about. And then the student is just like, life is this knotted bundle of yarn. And come back to me when you understand. You know, come back to me when you understand. So we're moving from eager student to like elderhood. Like, be really embodying and becoming that future ancestor with that North Node in Pisces. I would say matriarchy definitely is in the cards for you, in the chart for you. All right, love? Love you so much. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your contributions and for giving me the opportunity to read your chart here. Appreciate you. Happy travels. RV trip. How fucking exciting. I'm so excited for you, with your mom as well. Ah, what a beautiful gift. What a beautiful gift. So great. All right, friends. Next up on my list, we have Libby. Libby, you are next, dear, wherever you are in the realms. I'm going to go ahead and put your chart here. Do. Okay. Bam. Let's see. Read your notes here real quick, love. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think this is, while I'm reading these notes, I think this is a really great place to tell and let people know, like, hey, y'all, if you would like one of these little 15-minute readings, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram. I'm booked up for today, but next week is booking real quick. I do these live readings twice a week. I do them on Thursdays in the later evening, and I do them on Saturdays in this like morning, early afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. So there's that, or you can book a one-on-one reading, which is like a 60-minute longer deep dive as well. Let's see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes. Okay, cool. So this is for you, Libby. So let me actually show you your chart here. And I love reading your notes, y'all, like, because in many ways I'm like looking at your chart, I'm looking at these notes, and I'm just like, I'm seeing all of your astrological placements trying to talk to one another in the most beautiful ways. So it's like, what a gift, to be able to have this sort of language to look at self through. So a couple of things are coming online for me, Libby, as I was reading through your notes and now reading through your chart. It's so much of your chart. When we look at the trajectory of your chart. Now, I think this is also important to mention here, is that my expertise, or at least the expertise that I'm exploring it, is evolutionary astrology. So as an evolutionary astrologer, we're working on we use astrology for personal transformation and growth. We don't use it to predict things really. It can give us an idea of the weather patterns astrologically, but ultimately it's all about free will. You get to choose how you move through astrology. And one of the biggest influences in evolutionary astrology is working with the North and South Node. Now, some astrologers use it as like, ooh, your South Node is your past life. And we could entertain the idea of past lives. Absolutely, that can be in there. But I like to view South Node as almost like a comfort zone. I would say maybe a shadowy comfort zone with South Node. And North Node is North Star, what we're meant to grow into. It's the track record of our life. And if we, in our last dying breath, if we stand back and look at the timeline of our life, we probably would see this natural evolution from South Node to North Node, and in a beautiful way, hopefully, if we do it. So North Node is not meant to be comfortable. Okay, North Node is meant to feel like, it's weird, I don't know, this is awkward. South Node is comfort zone. So when we're looking for you, Libby, we're looking at a South Node in Gemini. The shadow of Gemini is over intellectualization, analysis paralysis. I would say when we are alone, when we are in solitude, gosh, the mental chatter is really loud, really paralyzing, almost to a place of like we're kind of catatonic. I would say there's a lot of questions that we have inside of us, and this sort of feeling of like, well, what if I go this way and I can't go this way and I can't go that way, and like blah 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 blah. And it's like, whoa, it just keeps going and going and going and going, like the Energizer bunny. Even if we're trying to sleep, like even our dream world is kind of chaotic. There might be a lot of insights and answers really wanting to come through. And the minute we find something meaningful is the minute it slips through our fingers and it like really goes away, right? Now, we can get comfortable staying in this South Node in Gemini territory, which is like, but why, but why, but why, but why, but why, but why, constantly asking that question to a place like nervous system wise is not the most helpful. But your track record, which I saw imbued in all your notes of just like, this is happening and this is happening, this is happening, but I think this is what this is supposed to teach me, and maybe the point is this, and maybe the point is that. I saw in a very South Node Gemini way this whole conversation in your notes, right? But the track record is to do North Node North Node Sagittarius work, right? Which is Gemini's perfect opposite. Now, what we're looking at in this are ultimately with this polarity is we're trying to get them with this opposition. We're trying to get them in the middle here somewhere in this gray area where paradox is possible, right? Where paradox is possible, where, okay, cool, I can see this experience a lot more clearly when I'm not in these extremes. I'm not saying thinking or overthinking. I would say overthinking is a problem. Thinking is not a problem. Intellectualizing is not a problem. Now, when that is our dominant area, absolutely, it can become a problem. To which the medicine here is North Node Sagittarius, which says there's only so many answers can come through intellectualization. At some point, we got to give ourselves an experience. Sometimes answers are found through experience, in action, with fire. I would say here where South Node in Gemini questions life's meaning. Sagittarius finds life meaning in the act, in experience. It's the willingness to go, God, I don't know what the answer is here, but please guide me. Show me, lead me. What would be the next best step here? Like, show me, give me a silver lining. And that's this tension that I saw even in your notes. There's a capacity there. It's like, I can see you wanting to see the bigger picture, the higher octave, the like, I can see you working it out in those notes in real time. And that's the point. I would say here, at what point have you questioned it to death, questioned whatever the tension is to death, and now you just got to go, cool, I just got to move. I just got to keep moving and trust and believe. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the way Sagittarius works is like you put yourself in a situation and somebody walks by you and goes, oh, hey, whatever, you dropped this. And now you have a conversation with that person and they're the perfect mirror in the most divine way. It's those synchronicities that happen when it's just like, wow. And here I was just so wrapped up in analysis and information overload and feeling like I need to learn more. It's like, babe, we're done learning. Now we got to throw ourselves into experiencing. Right? We got to throw ourselves into experiencing, expanding our worldview. I love that you're traveling because Sagittarius is the sign of travel. It's the sign that goes, gosh, I need to experience the meaning of life instead of reading another book, like taking another class, doing another master's program. Like, you have all the philosophies you need. I would say you have all the life experience already. Now, when are we going to trust it? When are we going to trust that by this moment, you probably have had enough synchronicities, enough rock bottom moments where like you were just like, fuck universe, I guess like I got to do something differently, and boom, right there you got the answer. You got stories. And that's the beautiful thing about South Node in Gemini, the storyteller of the zodiac, Gemini, is because you have stories, but you're hoarding them to yourself in this 12th house territory, 12th house of solitude. You're hoarding all these stories to yourself, to which now we need to put those stories to work in service, 6th house of service. right? Sixth house of service. We're going from keeping all these stories, all these questions to ourselves, to now I'm going to use these stories in service. Sixth house of service. I'm going to share something here. There's a reason why Sagittarius is known as the preacher, the pastor, the gospel sharer, because they have a gospel to share. They have information to share. They have a truth to share, a universal truth to share as well. If you had a south node in Sagittarius, this is where we're amplifying the shadow of Sagittarius, which can get quite dogmatic, kind of too like, no, this is the mountain I will die on. This is what I believe in. How dare you test my belief or question it? That's south node Sagittarius. And in north node Sagittarius, we're looking to a surrendering to an exploration of belief building and meaning making in a very exciting way that goes, oh, I got a story to tell about this now, right? I got a gospel to share. I got a good word to share. And it started one time long ago when the Star Wars credits start rolling in a very Sagittarius way. And now we're on a journey on understanding how life tests our faith. And it's supposed to. That's what makes meaning and truth and spirituality, whatever these concepts that are so woo-woo. That's why it's so exciting to us when we hit that rock bottom moment and something happens in the most like, wow, I didn't see that coming, but I'm so glad it did. Understanding that how you tell your story as well, my love, really matters. Really, really matters. And you can tell a story here that not only helps you see the silver lining and all this stuff that's changing and evolving, all to help you like even deepen your connection with yourself and God and source and creator, very Sagittarius territories. And in you sharing that and seeing your own silver lining, you can help others find that silver lining as well. You came into this world to be a belief builder, a meaning maker. All right? And that's only something that gets stronger and stronger and stronger after you've sat with what's ruminating, all these questions, and you go, great, I have all the information I need. Now I'm going into action. I'm going into doing. The quest begins now. Okay? The quest begins now. Okay. That's what I have for you, Libby. Really great. I love this. I love this, love this, love this for you. Keep trusting that wanderer and keep trusting that tension in you that also wants to see the bigger picture. That's the whole point. All these sort of voices in your head that's like, that's the whole point. How do we, okay, cool. Thank you, questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A comment coming in from Libby over here. Thank you very much. You're confirming all the realizations I had yesterday when I had the greatest breakthrough of my life. That is North Node Sagittarius to a T. I love it. I love it for you. I'm finally decided to act, even though I wasn't sure. Absolutely. 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 I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Libby. It makes my heart smile. Knowing that. Great. And that's it. That is that. Your life with that North Node in Sagittarius is a series of like breakthroughs after breakthroughs after breakthroughs that only deepen your connection with the adventure that is life. That is such a North Node Sagittarius quality too, is that life is an adventure. Life is absolutely an adventure. And why not? There's only so much you can learn in a book. You know, there's only so much you can learn in a book. At some point, you got to go, great, I need to know this for myself. I need to know this for myself. Okay. Beautiful. Great work, Libby. I'm proud of you. Proud of you. All right, friends. So I'm gearing up here for Chelsea, also known as Shelly Luna. Hello, Vancouver in the house. I think you're the second Vancouveran in today, which is great. I love it. Come on, British Columbia. Oh my God, Libby, it makes my heart smile. I love my life. Great. You know what you're doing, girl. You know. I love it. Wow. I'm loving these readings today because there's a through line in all of them. And in many ways, every single reading that I've done today has either mirrored the reading before that so beautifully, either in just like they have very similar placements, but in different parts of the chart, or in this one, it's mirroring quite the opposite of like the North and South node that I read in that very first one about like the Pisces Virgo axis. So now we're going to talk about North node in Pisces and what South node in North node in Virgo and what South node in Pisces looks like. Thank you, Chelly, for your contributions and all the wonderful things. I'm pulling up your chart here at Wabam. Here we go. This is you. This is real. This is me. All right, let me just read your notes here real quick. Yes. Yes. Okay. Great. I'm going to just put the transit by wheel here. Well, bam. All right, friend. So for you, Chelsea, there's a couple things that I'm seeing. First, what's coming through is we're moving away from emotionally holding it all together with family, right? South Node Pisces. We're amplifying the shadow here. And shadow of Pisces is like feeling it all too much. You know, I would throw in here with Scorpio rising as well. Gosh, there's an intensity here that we attract and this sort of like emotional depth that can limit us sometimes. That emotional foundation, it goes very deep. We get swampy. It's very South Node Pisces. Swampy, feeling it all, martyring oneself. I would say here, fourth house of family, we probably feel almost indebted to family, like emotionally responsible as well for them and their emotional well-being. And when things are really working out, come on, Jupiter in Cancer, like you really care deeply about these commitments and these contracts that we've made. Now, the health of those relationships really do matter here, because if we are feeling as though we got to do it all ourselves, care for it all ourselves, instead of also creating a container of care where other people can care for themselves too, then that's where it gets a little tricky and exhausting. And we start seeing like, gosh, I don't know where I end or begin here. Gets a little tricky and illusory, Pisces, right? Now, the track record here is going from kind of absorbing and taking too much in to now using that emotional life in service, in action. I would say probably creating a framework of sorts of what growth looks like, right? I would say the comfortable place is like holding everything yourself, to which the track record here for that North Node in Virgo is to get everyone to carry and to hold their equal share. It's really about creating a framework, a system of care and balance, and what it truly means to be in relationship with others as well. I would say with such a Libra stellium up here in the 10th house, as far as purpose goes and career goes, whatever that is all about finding equilibrium. It's all about fairness, in this lifetime and how we create fairness. With North Node in Virgo, we're creating a framework of fairness, balance, delegation, diplomacy as well, co-creation in 10th house. It's not something you're doing by yourself with all this Libra energy here. And we're looking at beauty as well. How do we create beauty with one another together? And not just depression and fear and doom and gloom. At some point, Virgo goes, I've heard your story. I see your story. But your story, the story of suffering, is limiting you and limiting your experience of life. We got to do the North Node Virgo work here of like, great. Here's how we can improve. Here's how we can do better. We all have it in us to do better. Like we all have it in us to optimize our experience, to optimize oneself, and not through the sort of like hustle bro mentality either. We're not trying to 10x our personality. I would say with the Leo sun here in the 9th house, it's like, can we also play with our growth? Sun and Leo, inner child activate. It's the energy of like, this is me, this is who I am. I would say here, you would really benefit from, in a very philosophical sense, understanding maybe role playing. Maybe there's a framework there, and even like theater and performance that can help us play with our suffering, with the depth of like our pain, those stories, which are very real. In the Scorpio rising sense, you're not afraid to look at the shadow. You're not afraid to look at the things that people don't really want to look at. But I would throw in here this Sun in Leo in your 9th house of philosophy and world building and meaning making here that says like, there's a theatricality. Like I would say the stage of life is the playground for you to understand oneself in a joyful way. In the sort of energy that like, you know what? I'm going to try on this truth. See me in this truth. I might get validation for it. I might not get validation for it. But either way, it's okay. It's okay. You know, every time we put ourselves on stage and we risk that rejection, potential rejection, more often than not, I find that we are applauded. We might fixate and obsess on that one person who's like, boo. I know I sure as hell have done that. But understanding that when we try on a different story, we might be more surprised of the people who actually embrace us and see us in that more. I think with so much of this Virgo energy, also like in this 10th house of career with Libra here as well, we're looking at beautifying what's wrong, quote unquote wrong. We're looking at beautifying the healing journey, the growth journey. We're looking at beautifying our perceptions of this world in a way that inspires that breath, that balance, that acceptance, that fairness, the trust of like, wow, even in its extremes, life is so balanced. Libra, it's so balanced, even when it's from the outside looking in at odds with itself. It's in the act of balancing itself. It's very Libra quality here. And I think we're learning to trust that more, to trust our discernment more, to trust that core fairness code inside of us that's just like really motivating for things to be just in our relationships, right? With one another. Just in a way that says, you know what? Actually, I cannot carry all of this for you. I'm recognizing the part of me that wants to carry all of this with you because I can see how it's so much for you to carry it alone. But instead of doing the work of emotionally feeling responsible for other people's pain or suffering and all of that, how can I, in an integrous way, in a sort of like framework-like way, create the stage for you to find the balance in carrying it for yourself. Right? Right? Chelsea here says, I resonate with this so much. I'm a musician and I feel deeply to the point of avoidance sometimes. Yes, fairness, boundaries, and balance have been huge lessons. And I think here, understanding with such a strong Venus placement up here, conjunct Mars as well in Libra, we're looking at Venus through the lens of aesthetics. Venus is the planet of art, culture, social cohesion. There's a reason why, like, it's the energy of like, why Libra is associated with balance, and how sometimes it's the feeling more so of like when the nervous system exhales as they see or experience a piece of artwork or experience a song that helps their nervous system go, ah, wow, I feel more at ease with myself. This brought the extreme into more balance, right? It's the aesthetic, perceptual experiences of beauty that help the nervous system exhale, right? This is why creatively just doing some art therapy and just like doing something totally different than just ruminating can create so much space. And just, it doesn't mean it erases the problem or the rumination. It just means it creates a bit more distance. And in that distance, maybe we find ourselves in the middle way a lot more. Leo is a very creative sign. It is the sign of creativity. In your 9th house of creativity, I would say, in your 9th house of philosophy, I would say, let's start exploring the philosophies of creativity and how that can help us creatively, not to sound redundant, creatively create solutions to help us see and create perspective around our suffering. That's very much South Node Pisces. That is the track record for South Node Pisces, is to create a framework for these sort of heavier themes. Of course, with your chart, through the lens of love, I would say like with Scorpio rising, it's like goth kid energy, but with like a flower crown with all your Libra energy as well, with your sun in Leo as well. Like there's like the goth kid who also wears a crown. There's a goth kid who also wears color. It doesn't mean the suffering goes away. It just means the lens through which we contextualize our suffering feels more productive, right? It feels more productive than just like the weight that we carry. All right. So that's what I have for you, dear. I love this year for you. It's going to open up a lot of doors. I think it's going to get you to trust how you want to facilitate this conversation. Keep going in that direction. Trust that fairness compass you have inside of you. Pisces here doesn't have those boundaries like intact or core to them. Pisces is boundaryless, super boundaryless here with South Node and Pisces. But you have that fairness compass with that Libra stellium. So trust where that fairness is really motivating you toward. And there's a framework for you to explore here to help you get there. All right. You're very welcome, my love. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. Thank you for these conversations. I really appreciate it. A couple of things I just want to mention here before closing up our circle. One or two things. If you enjoyed these readings, great. I love it. Make sure if you're on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you're on Instagram, go to my profile, hit that notification bell so you know whenever I'm on live. If you want to book one of these little mini readings, 15 minutes, you can go to the link in my bio if you're on Instagram to book a session, or you can the link is also in the description on YouTube as well. I do these 15-minute readings. I do a 60-minute reading called Soul Sessions. That's also linked in my bio. You can see all the information on there. Also, while you're in that link in bio, I'm starting my elemental cohort, which is a 6-week astrological deep dive on fire. It's called Elemental Fire. For 6 weeks, we'll be spending 2 weeks at a time with Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, and how we can integrate the archetype of that fire clan in the best ways. And look, you don't need to be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius in order to be involved in this. We all have these archetypes within us. Some of us much louder than others. Some of us, we got to do a little extra work, some more reps to tap into that fire. We are absolutely in an age of fire, which is only going to get amplified and just like catalyzed by all this air energy, by Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. Like, it's gonna get spicy. And the sort of actions we're being called to right now are just, I think, evolutionary astrology can help us look at fire through the lens of like deep spiritual significance at its highest octave. So we don't go too deep into the shadowy realms of the fire energy, which can be quite domineering, quite like intense, and just like very ego out of whack driven. So much of the fire clan teaches us how to be in healthy relationship with our ego. 6 weeks, we'll meet every single week for 6 weeks. There'll be challenges, journals, workshops, all the things, a live community, a fire circle to process with as well. So there's only a few more spots available. It's linked in my bio. You can go ahead and check that out. I didn't link it in the description on YouTube, unfortunately, but I'm just gonna type it in here, how you can colormecrazy.world. So if you go to colormecrazy.world/info, you can see all my offerings on there, how you can get involved with the Color Me Crazy world and community. But yeah, I think that's all of my shameless plugging. Other than that, thank you. Happy Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Sending you all so much love. And we will be back again next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern for my later friends. So we have something early, something a little later, just to give some different time zones, different opportunities to get a mini reading. But other than that, say goodbye to everybody in the space before heading out. Please acknowledge each other. We spent such a beautiful time in space with one another. You should acknowledge each other. It's so great. Wish each other well. When we wish each other well, we're wishing that for ourselves. So recognize each other, say goodbye to each other, all that fun stuff. And thank you. Love you all very, very much. Bye for now. Yeah. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Okay. Bye for now, friends.